Great Monday morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Cesar Mascoro Jr. with Manufactured Home Sales Mastery, in with our 15 minutes to mastery that we do each and every day at 8:15 Central Standard Time, or Central Daylight Saving Time, I guess it is today, right? Because we do this each and every day in order to make sure that you start off your day on the right foot with the right information, motivation, inspiration to get you going, because we know the day gets around us and attacks us each and every day in manufactured home sales. And no matter what you do, man, life just comes at you hard. So we want to make sure we're a part of a great start to the morning for you. Once again, welcome in 15 minutes to mastery. Today we're talking about something very, very important. We do it each and every day, right? But yesterday I got into the need for empathy in sales, the need for empathy, especially for us in manufactured home sales, because we already have that stigma that comes along with the product, comes along with the industry. So we need to make sure that we're being more empathetic. But I want to come in and talk about that briefly before we get into the different topics we were going to cover on it. I wanted to explain something to you folks very quickly, okay? A lot of times, there's a common misconception on empathy, right? And what exactly that will do for a housing consultant. Because a lot of times empathy gets confused for weakness. And it's not weakness. It's not weakness by any means. Actually, it's a strength. It's a strength that you could bring to the table, strength that you could have that will make such an impact on your potential home buyers, on your current customers, whatever it is that you've got going on. And I see that there is something right here. Let me get that out of the way. I apologize. Okay. So today's quote comes from Brian Tracy, and it says, combine the dual qualities of empathy and ambition within every sales relationship. Combine the dual qualities of empathy and ambition in every sales relationship. Again, because a lot of times salespeople will mistaken the definition or the meaning of empathy and think that means weakness, right? And in sales, we're always talking about getting another sale, helping another family, sell another house, or sell another phone, sell another car, whatever it is, right? And people just they have this misconception about salespeople that it's just go, 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 which it is. Don't get me wrong. We're trying to get as much business as we possibly can. However, you should strive to combine both empathy and ambition. All right. So first, to understand, we're going to get into the definition of what empathy really is. Okay. And so I'm going to go over, there was an article in freedomtoascend.com back in June of last year that I thought had some great points, and I want to highlight those for you. First of all, the definition of empathy. It's stated as a critical human characteristic that allows individuals to understand and share the feelings of others. We always talk about how we need to understand where our clients are coming from, right? But it has to start from a point of empathy. And we'll get into why here as we go along, right? Now, it continues to say it involves being able to imagine oneself in someone else's shoes. Think about that. When you're sitting in front of the customer and you're discussing things, obviously we want to make sure we get to know them. We build that low rapport and relationship, right? But rather when we start getting into the business side of it and finding out what's going on in their life, what are they needing in the home? We need to really put ourselves in that person's shoes, seeing things from their perspective and responding appropriately to their needs. For sales professionals, empathy is a crucial skill that can often make the difference between closing a deal or not. To be successful in sales, it's essential to understand the customer's needs, desires, pain points, and motivations. What we talk about, right? The dominant buying motive. We got to find out what's going on there. However, I want to make this point very clear when you think about it. How many times do you get frustrated when you're having to deal with a customer, when they're calling you, they're contacting you, they're maybe a little flustered, they're feeling frustrated about something. And how is it that you feel? How do you feel when you start getting those phone calls from those customers? Once you feel that, hey man, I got my part out of the way, I got the deal going, we're working through the conditions, whatever it is, and they're in constant communication with you. How do you feel? Or when they do have an issue, they do have a problem, they do approach you about it. How do you respond? How do you inside? What is your personality, your attitude? Because I noticed that within the industry, there's so many people so many housing consultants that feel that, man, I wish these people would just stop and get frustrated. Very short answers. And it's because there's no empathy involved. It's simply transactional. You've made it transactional. You're operating in a manner of transaction as opposed to in a manner of emotion or with empathy, with care. Because if you really cared, you'd put yourself in their shoes and you'd try to be proactive and ahead of the game and make sure that they had all the information they need. Or when there are issues that arise, because there are and there will be, that you're handling them as quickly as possible and that you're not avoiding them. You're not just trying to pawn them off. It's that important, right? That we understand that whole situation and how empathy is a huge part of what we do in manufactured home sales, right? So the other thing about it, let me get into this with you real quick, okay? Is empathy doesn't go against what sales is about. Like I talked at the beginning, a lot of times people think that that's a sign of weakness, that you're just going to, that you should just be all about the sale. You should just be all about going on to the next one. And yes, you need to be going on to the next one. You're constantly building that pipeline. You're constantly trying to grow your business. You're constantly trying to get new business. I completely understand it and I get it. However, we need to make sure that we're operating with empathy, right? Now, let me understand it. Let me continue on here. It says, by mastering empathy and developing a deep understanding of the customer, salespeople can build meaningful relationships, gain trust, right? And create a positive experience that leads to repeat business or referral business. In our case, in manufactured home business, right? Sometimes you get repeat, but for the most case, it's referrals. In sales, empathy also involves actively listening to customers, asking questions, and showing concerns for their well-being. Okay. We talk about it all the time, right? And you've heard me mention this quote: nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Plain and simple, hands down. You want to make sure that you're gaining respect. You want to make sure that you're gaining referrals. You want to make sure that your deals are moving as quickly as possible. You want to make sure that your customers are getting you the things that you need so those files keep pushing forward. You need to start with empathy. You need to make them feel respected. You need to make them feel understood, right? It's not only beneficial to the customers, but also to you, okay? It's going to help you to develop the stronger sense of awareness. Believe me, this is key. I'm telling you, I've described it before in recent weeks when I talk about, yes, when you're going through the interview and they're answering your questions. I'm sorry, they're answering your questions. You're writing these things down, or maybe you're on the phone talking to them for the first time and you're getting information from when you're in your conversation. That self-awareness that I just talked about, that you start to gain when you operate from empathy, you start listening for the things they are not saying. You're listening for the things they aren't saying in what they're saying. And that, my friends, is a true skill. But that comes from that self-awareness. That comes from the mindfulness. That comes from the emotional intelligence that you build up through empathy. So contrary to popular belief, it does not make you weaker. It actually makes you better. And guess what? It's not just in the office. It happens outside in your life. When you're dealing with people and you're listening, you're getting to know new people, or just in general with your friends, you may be in conversation, but you start to notice that you've got this like sixth sense almost when it comes to conversations, and you can pick up on things. You can see through the words into the reality of it. And you can really help your friends, help your family, because now you're able to better understand what people are not saying in what they're saying. Okay. So empathy, it's crucial, man. It's a crucial part of success in sales. And if you can cultivate that, if you can build that skill, okay, you're seriously going to thrive in manufactured home sales, because this business in and of itself, folks, is one that requires so much skill outside of just being able to ask the right questions and show the right homes and be able to close the deal. In order to do that, you have to start with empathy. And that's why we're going to discuss the top 5 benefits, right now when it comes to empathy in manufactured home sales. All right. And we're going to start off real quick. Number 1, improve communication. You're just going to hands down have better communication with your customers. Why? Because you're going to build that trust. You're going to gain that trust. You're going to gain the respect, and you're going to gain within them the understanding that you truly are there to help. And because of that, they're going to speak to you more. They're going to give you more information. They're going to keep in communication with you. They're the customers that are not going to ghost you once they leave your office, because they feel that you truly do care and you truly are there for their benefit, right? And because of that, you get a better understanding of your customers' needs, because now, again, they're pouring out to you. They're explaining not just what they need in the home, but they're explaining why they need the home. And beyond just the surface level answer, they're feeling comfortable enough to tell you the realities of their situation. They're not uncomfortable anymore because they feel they can trust you, and they feel that you truly do understand where they're coming from, that they will then be able to open up and tell you about that situation going on at home that they can't really deal with anymore and they need to get themselves out of, or they can tell you more about what's going on within their children's school that's affecting the children and thus affecting the family, and they need to get them out. They will tell you all of these things, not just tell you that I don't want to rent anymore and I just want to move to a different school district. They will give you the details, right? And with that, because they trust you more, because they tell you more, then you have improved customer relationships. And those improved customer relationships are going to lead to better pull-through percentage. It's great to get the deal up front, but that doesn't matter unless it goes all the way to the finish line, which is getting delivered and funded, and right, so that you can get paid. And the only way that that's going to happen, folks, is that we have that improved customer relationship. And that's going to start with empathy, because when you start with empathy, you again are going to help your customer understand that you are truly there for them, and you understand, and that you sincerely want to be able to be the person who assists them with their housing need. And because of all of these things that we just mentioned, of course, you're going to have increased customer loyalty. Think about this. How many times have you started down the road with a new transaction? You're moving along, and then somewhere along the way, something happened. Someone spoke to them. They got whatever it may be, and then they just disappear on you. They either ghost you or they just cancel out on you. A lot. I know it's happened to me, right? I know it's happened to me back before I started dealing with people differently and truly putting myself in their shoes and understanding where they came from. That's why we started Manufactured Home Sales Mastery, because I put myself in the shoes of those families that we help. And I want to help so many more, but I could only do so much with the staff that I had. So what did I do? I left retail last year to start Manufactured Home Sales Mastery, so we could help you, the retailer, the community, the housing consultant, because through you, we're able to help tens of thousands of more families, because I see what conditions they live in. I see the way that these children grow up, and I want to be a part of them having a better life through you. We want to impact more families through you. But it all starts with empathy, and everything that we teach, every one of our training programs is centered around empathy and the neuroscience of the way people buy and make their buying decisions, which starts with empathy. It really does. It's about understanding yourself so that you can understand them better. But anyway, it increases your customer loyalty. And then lastly, obviously, you're going to have increased sales, because here's the thing. You do great with your ads. You do great on the phones. You do great in the interview. You do great in showing the right homes. You do great in everything. And you feel that hands down, this family is going to move forward with you. And when you ask for the business, other than price or payment, what would keep you from buying the home today? And they don't do it. Now what? And you know that you have that relationship. You know that you have that trust. You know that you've created that bond between you because of the empathy that you've shown. Now what do we do? Well, here's the thing. Because you have empathy, because you understand that they really do want this home, and now you understand why they're trying, why they need the home. Now there's no objection that they could come up with just because they're afraid of the commitment. That's what it is. It's not you. It's not the house. It's not anything. They're just afraid of that commitment. Understand that. But because of that and the empathy you show, now you can come up with an honest, sincere rebuttal to any objection that you get and be able to get them to move forward because they have that trust in you. They just are worried for themselves. And you, because of the empathy that you've shown throughout the whole process, from the moment they responded to your ad, are going to be the person that they're going to allow themselves to move forward with the transaction, even though they are nervous, scared, completely out of their mind. That, my friends, right there is the true benefit to empathy in sales. And that is not a weakness. That is by far, ultimately, the best form of strength that you can have in sales, combining sales and ambition. Have your goals, have your plan of attack, have everything in place, have those key drivers for yourself that will keep you going and moving forward, placing the ads, making the calls, and setting the appointments that you need in order to reach the numbers that you're trying to reach by helping families through empathy. I hope that this message helps you, and I'm sure it will, as long as you apply empathy in your daily operations. And again, that's what we're about here at Manufactured Home Sales Mastery. That's what we start everything with, and that's what we end everything with, and that's what we carry on throughout all the follow-up that we provide past the training courses that we do, because we want to make sure that you have results, because we operate with empathy as well, because we know that it's important to you to have the results that you're after. Let's do it together. You guys have a great Monday. Have a great week. Get on out there. Attack the week. Hey, man, I believe today is tax day, right? Oh, my gosh. Whew. Have a great Monday in spite of that. All right. You guys take care. And as always, I can't wait to meet you.